will control the vertical.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery suspense anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthologic with your host, Mark. Today we are covering a series from New Zealand. Interesting one. This an anthology series from New Zealand. It's called A Twist in the Tao. This lasted one season, 15 episodes throughout 1999. First episode, the one talked about in this episode, aired on the 6th of February. Saturday the 6th of February 1999 up until May the 15th 1999. I'm not quite sure where it aired. It's a New Zealand production, so I'm going to guess New Zealand. It's not clear from the details I've got where it actually first aired. This is a series with stories narrated or semi-narrated in a slightly more proactive way than, say, Rod Serling, by William Shatner, of all people. William Shatner, yeah. He is telling the story to a group of children in this episode, and I think that's how it sort of plays out for the rest of the series. And we see those children, and we see their reactions to this story. However, it wasn't a great episode of TV. It rates quite well on IMDb, 6.8, but it really wasn't that engaging. It reminded me a lot of something I reviewed in an earlier episode, which was Shelley Duvall's Nightmare Classics, where I talked about an episode covering The Turn of the Screw with Amy Irving and a very young Balthazar Getty, things like that, and David Hemmings. It had a kind of similar feel, though that I think was a superior piece of work. So it was set in Victorian England. Young children are visiting their uncle, and there's some shenanigans going on, business going on about an archaeological dig, and the story of King Arthur and Camelot and finding stuff is part of this story. Indeed, there's a cave is found with a sword in a stone, for example, which is talked about, not Excalibur, but it kind of looks like it is Excalibur, frankly, and an archaeological dig where they're trying to find these the grown men, scientists, archaeologists are trying to uncover something. It appears to be the Holy Grail is what they're trying to uncover. And it goes on. There's quite a cool sort of gypsy witch called Morgana, so Morgana Le Fay, and some of the characters are sort of renamed after Knights of the Round Table. There's a Lance, who's basically Lancelot and things like that. It doesn't quite work. It's meant to be Victorian England, but the greenery, if nothing else, doesn't really look particularly like England. It looks more like New Zealand, right? And one of the weaknesses of it being set in Victorian England, they need to get the accents right. Now there are some there's some English accents, and I think they're English actors, or it might be just a very good English accent. But there's some where not so much. The New Zealand slips through, and it kind of breaks the spell. I mean, the other one kind of had that a bit, but they did manage the English accent slightly better. And it goes on. It's quite long. It's 50 odd minutes, and it's a bit dream logic-y in places. It also kind of has an element that reminds me of Picnic at Hanging Rock. People just disappear and without a trace, and that's part of the mystery. Well, the ending, really. Yeah, I didn't particularly like this. I didn't think it was that entertaining. It is all on YouTube. You can watch it yourself. I don't think there's any chance I'll be visiting the rest of the series, frankly, based on this. Though, having said that, some of the later ones rate extremely highly on IMDb. There's one, for example, called A Ghost of Our Own, Episode 8, which is over 9 out of 10, which is very high on IMDb. Impressively high. So that's quite a good sign. Having said that, this particular episode rates 6.8, which is also quite a high score on IMDb, and it wasn't. It was distinctly average. It was closer to a 5 out of 10 for me, something like this. William Shatner was in good form. He looked hearty, and he sells things with a lot of energy, so there is that. However, this particular story, and probably this particular series, I think is one of the weaker ones of all the ones I've covered, I would say. So, as I say, Twisting the Tail, and it is all on YouTube. You can catch it yourself. I will say no more about this one. I won't spoil the engine. If you do get to see it, you can have that pleasure reserved for you. But before I go, may I ask, is anybody out there?
We're not.
We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to